The holdover is over. The holdout is over. The San Francisco 49ers have officially signed Brandon Aiyuk to a new contract. Lots of details coming out right now, but the news is Aiyuk agrees to a 4-year deal with the San Francisco 49ers. All that and more in this special episode of 49ers Cutback.
From the alley-oops at Kezar to the glory days at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
The saga is finally over. The San Francisco 49ers and Brandon Aiyuk have agreed to a contract extension, keeping him in San Francisco. It's huge. It's huge news for the 49ers. Now they can finally get past this. But of course, the information is Brandon Aiyuk comes back on a 4-year deal worth $120 million, including $76 million guaranteed. Now, here's the interesting part for anyone wondering. This, according to Adam Schefter, is mind-boggling to me. But in the end, this is his quote. In the end, Brandon Aiyuk accepted the same deal that has been on the table since August 10th per league sources. His hold-in did not alter any part of his new 4-year, $120 million extension. He took the same deal that has been there for the past 3 weeks. Hold-in over. So Brandon Aiyuk's hold-in did nothing. He ends up agreeing to the same deal that they already had on the table. And what's up to everyone in chat? Chat absolutely flying. How is it going to everyone in chat? And David says, at least Aiyuk will be able to put food on the table now. Yes, absolutely. Still True says, I'm so happy, Ant. Or so happy. Josh says, finally, Ant. Yeah, it's finally done. This deal is done. And, that's one of the big things the 49ers had to get accomplished was getting Aiyuk. In fact, I put out a video just a little bit ago going over the strengths and weaknesses of the San Francisco 49ers roster. And when I went over wide receiver, I said straight up that it wasn't a strength or a weakness, but without Brandon Aiyuk, it can't be a strength. Well, now that Brandon Aiyuk is going to be in San Francisco for the foreseeable future, that means that he's going to make this offense a lot better, and that wide receiver room is going to be a strength. Bobo says, does this mean we are trading Trent Williams? No, Trent Williams' deal is now going to get accomplished. I fully believe that. They needed the Aiyuk deal to get done. Now Trent Williams' deal will get done as well. 49ers are going to get this thing wrapped up. Now, one interesting part I wanted to be, and I'm going to get into everyone's comments, so if you guys have chats, leave them in chat, because I want to know everyone's opinion on this, and we're going to get into it. But I saw this as well from Ian Rappaport. Brandon Aiyuk is going to receive $47 million between now and April 1, 2025. Massive. That's a quote from Ian Rappaport, which means the 49ers are giving him a very hefty signing bonus. He's getting a lot of that money up front as far as guaranteed money, $76 million guaranteed. And we know that's the main portion of this contract is the $76 million guaranteed. $120 million is the Amon-Ra St. Brown deal in overall look, right? It's $120 million. We all know that it ends up being $28 million per year. Amon-Ra, that last year of his contract kind of inflated the yearly. So I don't know the full breakdown of what Aiyuk's is going to look like, but I think it's very similar to the Amon-Ra St. Brown deal. And it was months ago that his personal wide receiver coach, Brandon Aiyuk's personal wide receiver coach, TJ Hushmanzada, went on the radio and said, if you offer him the Amon-Ra St. Brown deal, he's going to take it. Not entirely accurate, because the Amon-Ra St. Brown deal apparently was on the table since August 10th, and Brandon Aiyuk didn't take it. So 49ers were definitely trying to meet Brandon Aiyuk where he wanted to be. Aiyuk was holding out for more, but ultimately they get the deal done. So we're finally getting to that deal done. And David Campbell says, I just commented on the other video you posted that Aiyuk is now signed. Timing is everything. there you go. Yeah, I just put it out, and then all of a sudden, it's that time. Traffic says, let's go, BA. Let's go, Niners. Now it's Trent Williams time. Hopefully that's done by this weekend. And I think the Trent Williams deal will move pretty rapidly now. I think that they wanted to get this Aiyuk thing done. I think you've seen the frustration with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan. I think that was clearly on display. And now that the Brandon Aiyuk that Brandon Aiyuk was starting to incur some fines, I think it did get the ball rolling, because before he was just chilling. He didn't have to worry about fines. He could hold out longer and hope the 49ers kicked him an extra couple nickels to potentially get him some more money. And now the deal, definitely came around. So, and Josh said a deal that's probably been on the table for weeks. It definitely was. They had the deal in place since the 10th. Sound Grip says, thank freaking God. And I think a lot of people are going to breathe a lot easily now. And Golden says, got his $30 million. I respect it. Time to ball out. He got $30 million. We'll see what the overall deal looks like. Like I said, again, guaranteed money means everything. So that fourth year, it might not have guaranteed money in it, which could bring the overall value down a little bit. We'll see. But overall, I mean, yeah, he was pining to get the money, and he got the money. Ryan, how's it going, Ryan? It's the same deal since August 10, WTF. Yeah. So the 49ers put out what they believed was their best deal, and it just, that's all they got. That's all they got out of it. So that's always a little bit frustrating. Guys, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. If you're listening to audio platform, 49ers Cutback on Believe. Please give it a 5-star rating. If you're going to bet with Bet Online. Bet Online is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. Bet Online. The game starts here. So now that Brandon Aiyuk is here, and he's going to start, practicing, I'm guessing they're going to start working him in. Kyle Shanahan kind of laid it out during his presser that they're going to put him in individuals and slowly, gradually work him in. The hope is that he's going to be able to kind of ratchet this thing up and be ready to go week 1. So we'll see. I don't know what kind of conditioning he's in. Kyle Shanahan said Brandon Aiyuk tells him he's in good condition, but we'll see what happens. So it's going to be interesting. Bobo, thanks so much for the super chat. Says, do you expect a Super Bowl hangover or repeat of the NFC Championship game? I don't think I expect a Super Bowl hangover. I think that, that Super Bowl hangover that hit in 2020 was different. There was a lot of injuries, but I think that the 49ers have learned a lot. If there was going to be a hangover, I think you could have seen it in other situations. It could have easily been in 2021. They could have had that hangover in 2022, yet they didn't. I think this core group has gotten past the hangover stage. I don't know what that means for some of the younger players, how they are going to respond, but I'm guessing that a lot of the veterans are still going to be eager to get something done. So I don't ultimately think that's going to, be the big problem for the 49ers. So I don't think it's going to be. Of course, they're going to have to win football games, and we're going to see. I think they've been pretty good overall. I think they've been motivated. I felt like it was a normal training camp, so we'll see. Traffic says, okay, can we get early predictions for next offseason? Who signs a week before the season starts? Let's hope we don't have to wait for that, Traffic. Let's hope that doesn't happen at all. Just don't want that at all. So let's not do that. And here we got David Campbell says, like and subscribe. So yeah, if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do that. I really appreciate it. Jesse says he's in time to get in shape for the first game. That's what really matters. The practice time for the other guys helps the team too. Yeah, one of the unique things, and luckily for us, we have a quarterback in Brock Purdy that's worked with Brandon Aiyuk for a while. But this offense is predicated so much on timing that really Aiyuk is just getting from point A to point B and being in the right spot for Brock to get him the football. So it's kind of plug and play. But you're right. They're going to have to make sure Brandon Aiyuk is in shape. I'm fully confident he's been doing his due diligence to stay in shape and make sure that he's capable of being ready. But you got to go out and prove it on the field. So we're going to see Aiyuk out there it's good news too, because the drama's over. There was a lot of people starting to get frustrated with this whole thing, whether that was frustrated with the 49ers, frustrated with Brandon Aiyuk, frustrated with both of them. I even seen Brad from the SF Niners did a poll, and there was 16% of the people that blamed him. It's hilarious. I know that was complete fun, but it's just that's how it felt. Just blame everyone because the deal wasn't getting done. So I get it. What's up, Texas Tio? How's it going, Uncle Rob? He says, I figured with all of Ayuk's drama, he was either going to get a new contract, new team, or new reality show. There for a little bit with the TikToks and all of that stuff, sharing practice film from the Washington Commanders. It definitely went that way a little bit, and I'm glad that's over. I'm so excited that next week, and I'm with everyone. I hope that this leads to Trent Williams getting done over the weekend, which there was people that said it was going to happen over Labor Day weekend. So bravo to those insiders. Hopefully it does happen and Trent's done, because then next week, full focus is football. Full focus is 49ers versus Jets. But if you're just joining chat right now, Brandon Aiyuk has agreed to a 4-year deal worth $120 million with $76 million guaranteed. And according to Adam Schefter, this deal has been on the table since August 10th. And according to Ian Rappaport, Brandon Aiyuk is going to receive $47 million between now and April 1 of 2025. And as he says, massive. So that is what's going on if you just joined the conversation. It's definitely interesting. And Ryan says, probably going to start hearing reports that Rodgers' Achilles is feeling sore. Yeah, maybe he's ducking the Niners a little bit. It's going to be interesting. What's up, Rick? How's it going? Says, thank you, my friend. Good job for these 2 months. Good job. Thank you. This coming from me, a diehard 49er fan. By the way, I like your hat. 49ers, go, 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 go. Thanks so much, Rick. I really appreciate it. Glad you're digging the hat. And, I like it too. It matches my 49ers Cutback merch from the 49ers Cutback shop that I was rocking today. So got to get that going. Ryan says, Ant, what changes do you see to the roster now that this is over? Bell cut or to the practice squad? I think there will be a move, but I think it's going to come once Trent Williams comes off. So maybe they'll do something. But right now they don't have to do anything until you get Trent Williams back. Then they can decide on Ronnie Bell, and then they can decide on if it's Ben Barch, whoever it is. So, yeah, more roster moves are coming for the 49ers. I don't even think that what they did with the gymnastics over the last couple of days has finished. We heard John Lynch mention Logan Thomas. He's always a possibility, but you're always looking for a way to get better. And there's no way you're carrying 7 wide receivers into the season. They're going to figure something out. And so I do think Bell will get cut at some point. I just don't know when that's going to be. What's up, Daniel Barry? Sports Highlights. It says, yo, and how's it going? I'm glad you're in chat. David Campbell, I wonder if Aiyuk wanted no trade language in the contract, considering the $47 million payout this year. They likely will want to keep him around. I'm sure he wanted to have, something like that. He would definitely like to be around. Because that's real important. You want to make sure that you're secure. And he just bought a house out here in Northern California. He didn't want to go anywhere. And so that's why he kept turning down the trades. The key was he never wanted just the money. He wanted the 49ers to pay him the money. And he wanted to get paid what he felt he was worth. And he negotiated and he massaged and he worked the deal until he got what he wanted. And ultimately, I don't know what took him from August 10th to now to make that decision. I wish he would have made the decision on August 10th to take that contract. He could have been in camp and we wouldn't be talking about this for the last 3 weeks, but he didn't. And so that's something that's really huge. So thank you so much for DJ G hosts for becoming a new member. I really appreciate it. I always enjoy when you guys join. So memberships are available. You get to use emojis and extra stuff like that. You guys can do that. So 49ers are doing their thing, man. They're doing their thing, and they're showing everybody, that they've got Brandon Aiyuk now in camp, and now the attention fully turns to Trent Williams. I mean, that is exactly what Adam Schefter said. The 49ers know they have to get him into camp, and the questions are, will Trent Williams be available? Debo Samuel had put on Instagram about, Trent Williams today about how he's only gave up 1 sack in like the last 986 pass blocking snaps. It's been fantastic. Trent Williams needs to be here. The 49ers definitely want him to be here, but they've got to now turn their attention to him, and it's all about guaranteed money there. And we're talking about Jed York, who is paying a lot of people a lot of guaranteed money. There's nothing about Jed York and the decisions that he's made recently that show that he is, cheap by any means. He is paying his players. You're talking about guaranteed money and a big contract for Brandon Aiyuk, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. I mean, George Kittle. These guys have all got blockbuster deals, making them some of the highest paid players at their position, if not the highest paid player at their position. And Brandon Aiyuk is the latest one to get the big time contract from the San Francisco 49ers. So if you're just joining in, as people keep jumping in, Brandon Aiyuk, 4 years, $120 million, $76 million guaranteed, including $47 million that is going to be paid out from now until April 1, 2025. Absolutely huge for the San Francisco 49ers. It has been one of the things that's the funnest to see when players get paid. I'm happy for the players, but I'm really happy that you get the player on the team. And I thank you so much here. So it's been really enjoying your coverage, especially the off season. Really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much, DJ. It means a lot. And what's up, Eric Dane? Eric says, let's go, Ant. Yeah, let's go. Finally, a decision made with Brandon Aiyuk. Finally, no more Brandon Aiyuk conversation as far as holding out and all that. Now we can talk about on the field stuff. That's the best part, because Brandon Aiyuk is going to help this offense immensely. Last year, Brandon Aiyuk had a huge year, over 1,300 yards. But the way that he plays the X receiver and the way that he can create separation, now we're starting to talk about the wide receiver room looking like the absolute Avengers. When you look at what the 49ers got when it comes to this roster, I mean, it is absolutely stacked. And that's what, when you're looking at a wide receiver room, and I know we got 7 wide receivers right now, and we think that's going to change at some point, right? You're going to move on from Ronnie Bell. But when you've got Brandon Aiyuk and Debo, now you've got a really good X receiver. They're paying him like one of the top X receivers in the entire league. So you've got Brandon Aiyuk, and we all know he's the top 10 wide receiver. Debo Samuel is a top 5 playmaker. Nobody is more dynamic, in my opinion, with the ball in his hands. He can break tackles. I mean, maybe Tyreek Hill, but I mean, that's the level that Aiyuk is on. That Debo's on. Those guys are crazy. Jennings has got the oblique, but once he's back, we know what Jawan Jennings can do. And so he's going to be huge there. Then we've got Chris Conley. He's been stable. He's been doing a good job. But how about these young guys that we're adding to the mix with Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing? And knowing that, I know Debo's under contract for the next couple of years, and I hope he stays in San Francisco. But we know now for the next several years, we're going to have at least Brandon Aiyuk, Ricky Pearsall, and Jacob Cowing, a young core group of wide receivers to go with Brock Purdy. That's exactly what the 49ers had to do. You have to build around Brock Purdy, and that's what they're doing. Now they've got a young offensive lineman too in Dominic Pooney you can build around. So they're doing a pretty good job with that. They're making sure they're putting talent, but the Avengers, as people call them, they're doing a good job. I'm excited to see this group together. And they had to pay Aiyuk. They had to pay him. I don't think they wanted to pay him $30 million annually. That's what it kind of works out to. But, when you look at what's going to happen, that's just what the market kind of issued them into. Does that mean it costs them players down the road? Could they possibly lose a couple guys? They could. Maybe they can find another way to make that money up. We'll see. But Aiyuk is getting 4 years, $120 million, $76 million guaranteed. It's a crazy amount of money, but congratulations to Brandon Aiyuk. Ryan says, Ant, are you going to be doing Madden Sims again this year? Yeah, I am. I did get in the new Madden like a week or so ago, checked it out a little bit. And so, yeah, I'll be doing Madden Sims again if you guys would like to check those out. Those will be coming out. Usually I do them on Fridays. So next Friday, be looking for the Madden Sim to come out, 49ers first Jets. Eric Dane says, Aiyuk and Debo, much different skill set, need both to fill roles. 100% accurate. That's the thing. It's not an apples to apples comparison. When you look at who the 49ers have on their roster, these guys are completely unique. In fact, there's no one like Brandon Aiyuk on the team. There's no one like Deebo Samuel on the team. They're distinctly unique. And that's why them playing X and Z, they're completely needed, both of them. And so that's why I want the 49ers to keep him in the future. And then when you look at Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing, they can win from a couple of different avenues. Both of them can beat man coverage. They're quick, they're fast. They can add when it comes to counters and reverses, some extra stuff there, some screens. So overall, I like the makeup of the 49ers wide receiver room, and I'm excited to see what they do with it. And so that's what I'm hoping. And David says Deebo will be gone when his contract is up. So I believe he has 2 more years on his deal, or maybe it's next year. So it's this year, next year, and maybe he will be gone after that. That's one of the interesting dynamics. I don't know if he's going to be gone. I know his contract's going to come up in the next couple of years, but he's not even paid as one of the top 10 wide receivers right now. His money is slowly going down, and we're seeing the salary cap continue to blow up. One thing I will say about Deebo is still one of those dynamic players with the ball in his hand. So I could see the 49ers trying to keep him around. Now, I don't know what the money would look like for Deebo, right? If they're trying to sign him to an extension, I don't know what that money would look like down the road. But I think he at least goes to where you're right, he finishes out his contract in San Francisco. I think that's almost a foregone conclusion now, and that's good. And what's up, Ricardo? Says at least we don't have to talk about BA leaving anymore. 100%. We don't have to hear about the Steelers. We don't have to hear about all the trades, right? None of that is going to happen, and that's what I'm excited about. And hopefully I answered your question, Black Patriot, just that his contract is coming up. A lot of people believe that an Aiyuk extension meant Deebo's leaving. Just listen to Matt Mayoko today say that he doesn't think that's the case. So we'll see what happens ultimately down the road with Deebo, but hopefully they can keep Brandon Aiyuk and Deebo together. It's a 1-2 punch you'd love to keep. And, at some point, Trent Williams is going to retire, and that's why this contract with Trent is so important to the 49ers. If you structure it right, when Trent Williams does retire, it doesn't hurt you financially, but then you could take that money and continue to put it into other weapons as potentially then you draft Trent Williams' replacement. We'll see. I think it's going to be hard for these guys to get done, but they're going to work on it. Ricardo says at least we don't have to talk about BA. I mean, that's the key, right? Ryan says Aiyuk, Deebo, Pearsall, Kittle, McCaffrey. I would hate to be a DC planning against these guys. Yeah, I that's the tough part. And the 49ers are trying to make it so it's so unique that you can't plan for them, right? So what they try to do is get certain personnel groupings together to make it so difficult for you as a defense to be able to match up. It's a matchup league. And so when you can get unique looks, and that's why I think they were looking for a second pass-catching tight end, someone that could do it at a high level. They were hoping it was going to be Latu, didn't work out. Hoping it was going to be Logan Thomas, but they had to release him. His hamstring not there. So I think they've been looking for that element so they could add 12 personnel to the group as well. So, yeah, you're right. Now maybe you go some 4 receiver sets, some 10 personnel looks. That would be interesting. So they've got some stuff that they can work on, and they could use some unique personnel groupings to frustrate defenses. But every time they add one of these guys to the mix to go with an already stud core of Aiyuk, Deebo, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, it just makes things more difficult. And you've got the perfect point guard to pull the trigger. Brock Purdy does so good with progressions, with defensive reads, and getting the ball out of his hands. So now that you're full strength, now you can look at Pearsall. There's no pressure on him early. There's no pressure on Jacob Cowing. And it's going to be fun. These guys, crazy amount of talent for the San Francisco 49ers. Eric says, I bet they could keep a lot of guys if they didn't sink $60 million in a quarterback position. Just saying. You're right. Part of the reason they're able to pay all the guys that they pay is because they have one of the cheapest quarterback rooms in the entire NFL, including Brock Purdy. Now, I don't know what that contract for Brock Purdy is going to look like. You're right. $60 million is hovering out there for the 49ers to potentially have to pay. I don't know. How's it going to look? Is it going to be structured like Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes' contract, which have ended up being good contracts to be able to still build your team? If that's the case, you work around it. But you're right. Your team's not as good when you are paying a quarterback, at least the people around him. That's when that quarterback has to make up for that ground. It is tough, but you can do it. You can figure out ways. So I think it's going to be fun. And Eric says, also, don't forget about Ricky Rockets. I'm sure Pearsall will be great if he's ever healthy. Yeah. I think, he's been dealing with some injuries. I saw him at training camp when I was out there. I had a lot of fun watching Ricky Pearsall. He creates separation on his own. He gets open. He's got good hands, not afraid of contact. I've seen him take a couple of big hits, just bounces off, no problem. Pearsall looks like a professional. When you watch a lot of rookies, they're trying to figure out their place on the team. Pearsall's not like that. Confidence. He absolutely oozes it. And so when he's out there, you look at him like a veteran wide receiver, and I know he's not. So once he's healthy, I'm hoping they can ease him into this offense, because I think when we get middle way through the year, he could be a legit third option for the 49ers in certain looks and certain personnel groupings. And that's huge. You find a matchup that you like, you get him because of motion or because of shifts, motion and lined up on a safety or a nickel corner. Those are huge advantages for Ricky Pearsall. So I like that. He could be huge for this team. So, ultimately, you've got your weapons that you need to be prepared for the Jets. So we'll see how Brandon Aiyuk works into this thing and how he kind of progresses this week, the rest of this week at practice, into next week, and if he's going to be ready for week one. I think that's what he's going to do. I think he's going to be ready to go week one. Now the Trent Williams situation comes through, and Eric says, hey, by the way, thank you for going live as this news was breaking. Yeah, it was interesting. I had just did an episode earlier where I was talking about the strengths and weaknesses of the defense. I put it out of the team, and then I was doing a film breakdown over on Patreon of the second half offense, and the news came through. And so I knew I had to try to get everything together as quickly as possible and get on to talk about it, because this has been something that everyone has been, definitely on their minds. I know a lot of people have been tired of talking about the Brandon Aiyuk saga, the no news that's been coming out. Well, now it's over. It's good news. 49ers signed Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk is going to be in San Francisco for the foreseeable future. 4 years, $120 million, $76 million guaranteed, with $47 million of that money coming in the first part of his contract between now and April 1, 2025. That's what Brandon Aiyuk is making. And Eric says, drop a like to support the channel. Yeah, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps out a lot. When you like the content, it pushes it out to more 49er fans, so that way they can find it as well. And it means a lot. So, yeah, that's the deal right now. Brandon Aiyuk is going to be back in Santa Clara for the foreseeable future. And the 49ers knew they had to get it done. They had to get a wide receiver in there. They had kind of accepted Brandon Aiyuk's conversations about a trade. He had made a trade request. They negotiated with other teams. Brandon Aiyuk didn't want to be traded to other teams. Brandon Aiyuk wanted to be in San Francisco. He's had this deal on the table since August 10th. So if you're coming in and you're just hearing this for the first time, Brandon Aiyuk, according to Adam Schefter, has had this contract extension on the table for him since August 10th, and he did not sign it. He waited until today for whatever reason. I don't know if he thought he was going to get more money out of the 49ers. That's possible. But now that he's starting to get fined, he has decided that he doesn't want to get fined. So can't really blame him a whole lot. Who wants to take fines except for Trent Williams? Trent Williams is like $4.8 million, no problem. I'm good. So that's kind of what's going on with Brandon Aiyuk. So that is the news, guys. Brandon Aiyuk will be back in Santa Clara. 4 years, $120 million, $76 million guaranteed. I'm going to check out of here. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, stay safe. And remember, the right way is always the 49ers way.